So Casper, today we're going to talk about something that I don't know very much about because I am not a football fan. But the question is, should you invest in football clubs?
Can you invest in football?
Can you invest in football clubs? Well,
And the first answer is yes, you can, but only in a few.
well, the second answer no, because the first one was should you, and the second answer is can you.
And so we will talk today about Barcelona, Manchester United, and Ajax, and because but not in
a
depth.
very small scale.
And because Barcelona was in the news and Manchester United was in the news, so we are looking at the football clubs from an investment perspective.
Correct.
And should you invest in it? I think the conclusion is quite interesting. First, you want to start with Barcelona.
Well, Barcelona is in the news again, or Spanish companies in the news again, because they're moving back to the Netherlands. So they're moving to the Netherlands. And the funny thing is that after Ferrovial, this is the second company in pretty short notice that are moving their head offices to the Netherlands. And why are they doing that? Because they want to go and have a listing on the Nasdaq. And they say, why will you choose the Netherlands for that? Because apparently when you use the Netherlands as a base where your head office is, that apparently is more interesting, more lucrative for the investment bank. So what do they want to do? They want to bring Barça Media, which is like the merchandise division of the football club, to the stock market. They want to do that in the shape of a SPAC. A SPAC is a special purchase and acquisition company. And the SPAC is called Mountain & Co. Till when have they got the time to do that? That is until November. So until November they have the time to prepare everything to bring, to attract investors and to bring investors.
Do they like this in Barcelona?
I did not read any negative news about it, no, as much as with Ferrovial. Because
that's strange.
Maybe, I don't think the company itself will suffer in
No.
any sense. It doesn't really matter, of course. They're not picking up the stadium and moving it to Rotterdam, no? But the club on itself, I mean, it's an interesting club. I think it's one of the oldest in Spain, founded in 1899. The funny thing is also the football stadium, the Camp Nou, already built in 1957. The football club, the stadium was the first stadium in the world that carried the name of a sponsor, and it's called the Spotify Camp Nou. Which I don't think a lot of in the word that people won't say I'm going to the Spotify Camp Nou. They will just say I'm going to Camp Nou. I think, but anyways,
I'm going now.
Has a big history also with the Netherlands. We had one of our most famous football players I think in history. The Eddy Merckx from the football. Johan Cruyff played in Barcelona in the 70s. Then we had of course afterwards Neeskens and Louis van Gaal had a very big important role there in Barcelona. So I think it's a nice, beautiful club.
You know more about it than I thought.
Yeah, because I was also in Barcelona, but now lately with the independent stuff, I have a bit of aversion against.
No, but about football itself.
No, but football itself, yeah. I think it's Barcelona. I think from a perspective of nice or beautiful club, I think for me it's a nicer club than Madrid. But I don't like the whole Messi around it. You know what I mean? But I'm getting into personal stuff now. But so to round it off, the company will have a value approximately of 900 million. You have to be very much careful with this because, of course, these valuations are very much tied up to the performance of the club. Are they well, or are they not playing Champions League? Are they winning the Liga? Are they, etc., etc. So, and I think that what you are going to tell us now about Ajax and what you're going to tell us about Manchester is similar. You will see that it's pretty much the same.
Yes, the stock went down. Manchester United, 80% this week. That was not because of the results. By the way, they only played I think 4 games in the league so far, and they're 11th from the 20, so they're not doing that well with our Dutch trainer Ter Hag. But it was about the possible sale of the company, because the club is owned by the Glazer family, and the supporters are not really happy with the Glazers. They are Americans. They were on the stock market. I think they were one of the first who went public in 1991, and then the Glazers took them off the market and brought them back on the market in 2012. Only 17% of these shares are publicly traded. Now, what is going on? The Glazer family announced a couple, I think 2 years ago, we are investigating a possible sale. and there are two possible buyers that are interested. One is a British billionaire, his name is Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and another one, and then I have to really read what's on the new paper. He's a banker from Qatar. It's not about his personal money, but the group behind, Sheikh Hassim bin Hamad Al Thani. He was raised for a big part in the UK, by the way, and they have both placed bids around £6 billion. And the Glazer family, they want to have like something like 7 billion. And they announced this week, no, probably we don't want to sell it anymore because it was trading lower than the 7 billion, and that's why it lost even more of its value. I think, if you look at the figures itself, there are only two analysts on it. And for the revenues of 700 million, it's not a really small company, but only two analysts. One says, okay, it's a buy, one says it's a hold. So yeah, what can you do with it? They make probably a loss this year. So from an investment perspective, and I want to go a little bit deeper in the financials from Ajax, I think it's a really risky business. If you go to Ajax, it's also publicly traded, also not a big flow that's on the market. But Manchester is a little bit more stable, but the smaller clubs, and Ajax is a smaller club, are a little bit more unstable, because if you look at the figures, they have a cost of 190 million on a yearly basis. Out of that 100 million is 100 million that are salaries. Okay, the fixed costs. And then you have your other costs, like the rent of the stadium, etc. So
Exactly.
So the costs are quite...
They don't own the stadium.
No, they don't own the stadium. It's quite fixed. Then if you look, what they sell and buy players. So last year with a broken, if you look at the season 21-22, they wrote off 57 million on their players, and they earned from the sales and the purchases 37 million. So that was a loss, and bottom line, they made a loss. That year Ajax played Champions League, and they had, from the income from European televisions, right, they had 74 million of income. This year Ajax is not playing Champions League and the Euro League, so that will be for sure much less. So I don't know how much they have to write off this year. They sold some players, they sold a lot of players, they bought a lot of players. Net, they made a profit of 47 million, so that's more than the 37 of last year. I don't know again how much they have to write off. I think it will be less, but especially the cost side is quite fixed, and the income side, there will be a huge decreasement from 72, maybe half if they are lucky. So they already made a couple of million of losses last year. Probably this year it will be more. Analysts still think that Ajax will make a profit. The share is trading at 10. It was this year at 12, and it was 21 trading in 2020. Again, it's not a lot of shares traded, so the volumes are not that high, and I think the analysts are wrong with their expectation that Ajax will make a profit of 47 cents positive this year. I think it will be. Unfortunately, because I'm Ajax support, it will be a loss. And I think this is the bottom line. Then you will finish off with some interesting figures. Are really, from an investment perspective, it is a really high risk sector. The football sector is to invest in.
It's more
sentimental.
Yeah, what I did is I used the Benjamin Graham model again, and I looked at, but of course it doesn't make a lot of sense that I'm saying something strange, but if you look at Manchester, Borussia Dortmund, they're one of the larger listed companies. Yeah, they both make a loss, so the model doesn't make sense. Ajax had different figures, and it's 47 cents. I found €2.60 as well, but it's based on what year, what specific period. There, the intrinsic value of Ajax would be €7.50.
And it's trading at 10.
Trading at 10, so you're buying it actually already above the intrinsic value, because what Warren Buffett does, for instance, he buys stocks around 15% below the intrinsic value. So is it fundamentally an interesting play? No, not really. Why we talked about it, I think it's something that we didn't talk much before about, and also interesting that Barcelona is following Ferrovial to the Netherlands. I think when also Real Madrid is moving his headquarters to Amsterdam, I think we have a big problem soon here in Spain, because then they will have to change the red, yellow, red flag for a red, white, blue one.
Yeah, and if there is one player that wants to offer more for Manchester, then the stock price can go up. But that's
It's a tricky thing. It's a gamble.
It's a high risk sector to invest in. But if you support one of those clubs, it's really nice to invest in.
Thank you for watching.
Give us your thumb.
See you next week.
See you next week.